No, I know, yeah. No countdown.
Oh, we've gone live. This is it.
Good evening, all.
Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Boom. Welcome to the glam metal episode. So we better
Can you tell?
Well, obviously they can tell.
Them pills are working well, Scott.
Oh, honestly, see this German caffeine shampoo. I put it on last night and then I left it in for an hour too long, and boom, woke up this morning and my head was a stone heavier.
I can't believe you've not sent me a link to that, Scott.
Well, Steve, did you not put it on your face?
Yeah, I put a bit on the. I think I must have spilt a little bit on the side there because I've got a little ginger thing going on.
Mike must have got his in his eyebrows. So we're very expecting Cloudy will not be joining us tonight. He is behind the scenes, but he's feeling like absolute shit.
Could you say Cloudy is under the weather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's cloudy with a chance of the shits.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about about him personally, but he's thrown up. He's got the wild shites, and he's gone through 10 or 15 pairs of underpants already this weekend.
Yeah, there's a mess in his music room.
He had the wig, but it's now got vomit in it, so it was all right.
And he ran out of toilet paper, so he had to use that.
Oh yeah, by the way, Andy is still running this from behind the scenes. So if you want to ask Andy how he's doing, you can still just leave a comment. He'll get back to you.
Yeah.
But he's just cleaning up the vomit from his record room.
Yeah.
Bless him.
So
get well soon, Andy. Cloudy, under the weather.
So we're all glam tonight. Well, I am.
Yeah, I just turn my chair around so that I can get my cassettes in, but of course can't really see them that well with this camera like that. Never mind. I'll make more effort next time.
Well, before, when there was 4 of us, you were widescreen so you could see it. But so when our very special guest appears, you'll be able to see it again, Mike. I'm pretty sure.
Good.
Good evening to everybody who was watching. I could see all those names popping up, but we were busy slagging Andy off. I mean, talking about Andy. Wendy, good evening.
So, will we get our guest out?
Let's do it.
Yes, we did have some structured questions that I've forgotten.
Well, did you not write them down?
I did. I saved them in my phone in a little memo, and that's in there. So we're snookered.
You tip. Well, I'll just have to remember them then.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we'll just wing it. We'll keep wing it.
Here we go.
Hello, David.
Hey, boys. Thanks for asking me to come on the show.
Oh, no problem.
At all.
That is a superb collection you've got there.
Oh, thanks. Sorry about the picture on my camera is shit. I haven't had to use it before because I'm used to doing 15-second Instagram videos and then I'm gone. So I didn't know the camera was so bad, but you can see, as long as you can see the stuff behind me, I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't need to
I
see
can't
me.
see fucking anything with these on, so don't worry about it.
I see.
So I think that we better start. What was that?
I see Cloudy disappeared in case I asked him about his Nelson album that he has.
Oh, listen, he'll have worse than that.
Oh, definitely. Richard Marx.
Oh, right.
He's funny you mentioned Nelson. My mate's just got that Nelson album today and sent me a photo. He says it's fantastic. He says I need to be checking that out. Are you not saying it's no good?
After the Rain, it's one of my favorite albums. It's amazing.
I've heard it's a good album.
And every time, whenever I post it on the Instagram page, whenever I put up Nelson, half the people say, this is amazing. And the other half are, oh, these guys are shit. But it's amazing. Really, it's a brilliant album. You can ask
Yes, there he is. Dragster. That's who got the. That's who sent me that's who sent me the photo of his Nelson cassette. They look like two Afghan hounds on the cover, don't they?
They're like rock and roll Milli Vanilli.
Yeah,
Timothy.
That's right.
I've got myself a Guinness, David, seeing as though we're talking to you.
I have something Spanish, so I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Obviously.
So,
Trooper.
oh, the Trooper.
Trooper.
I'm actually not keen on that Trooper, but it's not as bad as the Motorhead drink. The Motorhead Pale Ale was horrible. Don't think.
Yeah, it's not as nice as Trooper. I mean, I like this Trooper, to be honest. Not as much as some of the other beers, but it's all right. Plus, it's got the bottle top's got a little album cover on it.
Yeah.
I'm the collector in me is sold on that instantly. Oh, it's got Eddie on the top.
Every time I buy Trooper, I can't throw the bottles out. I just keep them. I was like, I can't bring them down to the bottle bank to get rid of them because the picture's too cool. So in the kitchen, I've got like 50 of them on a shelf, empty bottles.
Yeah. I've got some up here that Andy's got a brilliant M, and he's made it, and it's got all the bottle tops, all the whole collection from the Trooper beers, all in this like burgundy M on the side. Looks great.
Oh.
Mine just randomly all around, which is unlike me because I'm quite organised, but I've just got nowhere to put them. But that's a hell of a collection you've got in the background there, David.
Yeah, I always wanted to have it look like a record store, so I think I did a good job.
It looks pretty good. So
yeah, it's
you're
I like having the album in the ground. I have the covers facing out, all my favourite ones. So that's why I still buy tapes. I buy cassettes still, but I don't really listen to them because I have them on CD and vinyl. But I love the cassette to have facing out because you can fit loads of them in a row and on the shelf. So
are all those? Have they got cassettes behind them as well?
No, there's actually DVDs behind them. I collect DVDs as well. I've about 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so after I worry because this is a bedroom in the house, so I worry that someday I'm going to end up in the kitchen below and everything's going to come down.
It's not used as a bedroom; it's just like purely a music room, isn't it?
It's just a music room, yeah. So that's what I said when we were buying the house. I said we have to get one with an extra bedroom because I need a room just for my stuff because I've so much stuff. So I have an understanding. Yeah.
So what got you into music collecting in the first place?
Well, I was the youngest at home, so I've got older brothers and sisters, and they were always into buying vinyl and cassettes. And my eldest brother was into ELO, and one of my other brothers was into Guns N' Roses, Striper, Blackfoot, and then one of my sisters, she was into more ballads and Michael Bolton and all power ballad stuff. But they all bought records and I'd hear all these songs growing up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to start collecting stuff. So the first band I got into was Queen. For my 6th birthday, I asked my mum and dad for a Queen album. I got the Works on cassette, and that was what I got for my birthday for when I was 6. So, yeah, 6. Now other people had like a He-Man figure, so I was like, oh, the Queen album. And then that Christmas, my brother bought me News of the World by Queen on vinyl. So that was my first LP when I was 6 as well. So, so from then I got into building up a collection. So I bought every Queen album. I bought them all on cassette. And then kind of when Freddie Mercury died, they did the tribute show. And after that, I was like, well, I'm going to have to try and find some new music to listen to. When I saw the tribute show, I know Def Leppard stood out to me on that show. So they were amazing and extreme. So these were bands then I was like, oh, I'm going to look for those on vinyl. And my brother would take me to town and we'd go around the record shops and I'd be looking for Def Leppard and just started from there. I built up all of this, But, so I've been buying for 30 years. So it's mad. I sold all my Queen stuff 3 years ago, unfortunately.
I just sold all my Queen albums, actually.
Yeah?
What's the record shops and stuff like in Dublin then, Dave? Is there plenty of them?
Not anymore. Years ago it was great. There was loads, but it just there's one metal shop that's amazing. That's called Sound Cellar. They just specialize in rock and metal, and my brother used to bring me there when I was a kid. That shop's there 50 years, and he still gets in like the latest stuff. When you walk in, it actually looks like this. When you go in, all the cassettes are on the wall, and everything's facing out like that. You know, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, I've been going in there since I was a kid. My brother would take me in on a Saturday. The guy in the shop, he used to say, "Oh, here's my AOR buyer coming in." And he say, because he buys any old rubbish. So I've been going in there. I've been going in there since I was probably about 12. My brother bring me in there from when I was 12, and that shop is still going. Well, I can't go in now. It was the last year or so. I haven't got to go in, but most weeks I'd go in and always find stuff. You know, he'd let me go in the back, and you'd be digging through boxes. You'd have stuff there for years. That shop's amazing. There's a few other secondhand shops, but there's not much kind of metal stuff. There's not even metal sections in them. They might have a new section of metal stuff, but they're all too expensive. That's €25 for a reissue of an album. And then there'd be a tiny secondhand metal section, and you'd be lucky to find anything. I think I cleared out Dublin of its metal over the years. So.
Yeah, I reckon I've got it all in that room.
I have it all here.
So how have you found it over the years? Because you've been collecting from such a young age, you were obviously collecting all through the 90s and stuff. How have you found the price hike? Because obviously you were probably collecting vinyl when nobody really wanted it.
Well, when I got into kind of the mid-90s is when, you know, I was starting to find more bands. So I was more into the hair metal bands then. No one was buying, like no one wanted vinyl then, so they couldn't give it away. So there was shops selling, you know, there was a shop called Chapters. They were a bookstore, and they weren't like a normal record shop. Normal record shops would, you bring up your stuff and they'd say, "Oh, I won't buy that from you. I won't buy that." You know, they'd be fussy at what they'd buy because they said that won't sell. So this shop Chapters just bought everything. They were like, "We want your records, we want your tapes," and they bought everything from everyone. So they did so much stuff. So I'd go in and you just find all the shite that I wanted. It was amazing. No one else wanted it because it was mid-90s. So like no one's looking for a Nelson album or Winger in the 90s, you know, but I was. Yeah. So I was able to go in and buy all these for 50p and a pound, and I built a huge collection when I was young of just the stuff that no one else wanted.
That's amazing though.
Yeah.
Like some of these albums that you pull out are absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and there's probably albums you've got there you paid 50 pence for that are probably worth over £100 now.
Oh, loads, yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff when I see them, when I see people post them and say, they would post on their Facebook and hold up the record. I finally have this. They paid $200 or something for it. And I'm like, oh my God, I got that for a pound.
I know. I'm pretty sure I've commented on one of your Facebook pages before saying, asking for your address, because I will actually come and rob your house.
I can't give my address out to anyone. No. I get all my stuff delivered to my mum and dad's house, so no one knows where I live.
Perfect. That's the way to do it.
Someone will kick the door down one day looking for my Britney Fox album.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing that'll be stolen.
Yeah, that Britney Fox one.
Do you have your collection on Discogs, or how do you organise it? Because as you can see, I've got quite a big collection. It fills like one bedroom in my house, but I'm quite sort of OCD about how I organise it. Everything has got to be alphabetical. It's got to be chronological. I keep my sort of non-metal albums away from the metal albums. My tapes are in a different area. My vinyl's in a different area. I get quite... Well, in fact, I seem to spend a lot of time kind of rearranging it. And how do you go about... Because, you know, your collection's a room full, isn't it?
Yeah. I keep them alphabetical order. I keep them in sections as well. So I'd have metal stuff. So metal stuff on CD is all behind me here. This shelf here, there's another row behind it. And that's kind of pop punk stuff, you know, like Lace, Bowling for Soup and Offspring and all that stuff. And then I have another section on the wall over here, and that's all modern rock stuff like Nickelback and 3 Days Grace and all that stuff. So I have 3 sections. So and they're all alphabetical and in the order they were released. But they're all the stuff that I buy. And when you get a new CD and all the shelves are full and you get something beginning with N or something, and then all these have to move down, and then these have to move this way.
I have to. These little gaps you can see, I have to leave little gaps in sort of after certain letters because, you know, years ago I used to, again, I'd get something with A and I would have to move everything along. So I tend to sort of wait till I've got maybe 15, 20 sort of CDs and then I put them all away in one go. Because as much as I enjoy doing it, it can become a chore when you've got thousands and thousands of CDs.
Yeah, I'm the same. And what I do is, if I have to put a few in, I'll pick a band that I've got, say, 10 albums by, and then they come out and they go into a box that I can keep on display. So I can have, like, say, Kiss, Extreme, and Scorpions or something in the one box, and keep them over here. And then it gives me loads of room to put out bands that I've got one album by into the section. So it makes it easier, so you can start pulling them out and moving them around. But yeah, so that's what I do. So I've boxes piled beside me here as well. You can't even see.
So that piece that's like behind you, that's lower down, that's got another side to it. Is that like in the middle of the room, so you can walk?
That's in the middle of the room. Yeah. So it's like So the shelves come out from the window out to near the end of the room, and then it's double-sided with CDs.
That's
and then the wall.
It's like having your own little record shop, that, isn't it? That's fucking marvelous.
That's what I always wanted.
Yeah.
And you know, when people say to me, "Oh, I have a big collection of stuff." Yeah, you should see the amount of CDs I have. And then you see, and they've got like a shelf, like just one shelf. Because you don't have loads of CDs. And then you show them pictures of what I have.
And have you got it on Discogs at all? Have you thought about?
No, I thought about doing Discogs before, but it seems I think I've gone too far. I have too much stuff to even start.
Yeah, I would look at your collection and just go, "Fuck that."
I put mine on. I was talking to Mike about it. Mike said you should put it on Discogs, and I thought, do you know what? I should. And it took me, honest to God, I did about 2 hours a day, and it took me about 6 weeks. And I started off doing it in the first couple of hours of the day. I thought, this is all right. Honestly, by like 3 weeks into it, I was proper pissed off. Like, it just became so monotonous, turning the CD round, scanning the barcode, making sure it was the European press and not the US press. And it became quite tedious. But with anything, once you've started, you've got to see it through, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it ended up, I think I've got just short of like 4,500 pieces in my collection. So it just went on and on and on. So my advice to you is, don't bother. Don't.
Sometimes it comes. If I'm in a record shop and I was like, shit, do I have that? Because I know maybe I have it on CD, maybe I have it on vinyl. I can't remember. Do I? Because when you have so much stuff, you're not sure. Say, I know I have it, but do I have it on CD or vinyl? It'd be handy to be able to go on to your Discog and say, oh, I have it. So I have to guess.
Yeah.
Not often I get it wrong. I would know most of the time, but a couple of times over the years, I'm excited coming home with something like, I go to the section shop, fuck, I have it.
I've done that. And to be honest, even on Discogs, when you've got a big collection, it takes you that long to scroll through the Discogs. Someone else has picked it up and whisked it away before you've had a chance. Collector's curse, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I've done that a few times, picked up a double.
So with the glam metal, Dave, what would you say are sort of 5 of your favourite glam metal albums?
My favourite glam metal albums. I actually pulled some out in case you'd ask me. I had a feeling you might ask me. Let me see.
It's funny you should say that because I've pulled some out as well, Mike.
Well, definitely one of the best ones. Sorry, the picture is so bad on this, so you mightn't be able to see it. definitely one of the best ones is the first Firehouse album.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Awesome.
one, I saw the video for "Don't Treat Me Bad." And that was it. I was like, oh my god, these guys are amazing. Because I was so into Def Leppard. Def Leppard have all the big choruses and it's well produced. So I was looking for more bands that sounded like them. And when I heard Firehouse, it's like, oh my god, this is it. This is the band. And when I got the album, every single song on it is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, it's a killer record. That.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of Firehouse until I started making videos, being part of the VC. It was Scott, in fact, who I think he'd shown the one with the fire engine on the front, or the leather jacket and the fire engine.
oh yeah.
Yeah, second one or something.
I forget what it's called now.
Hold Your Fire.
Hold Your Fire. And I remember Scott talking about it, and he was just talking so passionately about it. I thought I've got to give that a whirl. And yeah, I enjoy it. You know, I mean, you know me. I'm the heavier end of things, aren't I? I know. Even, you know, we follow each other on Instagram, David. So you kind of know the music I'm mainly into. But
Yeah, heavier stuff. Yeah.
I you know, glam played a part on my journey early on, and I'll show some albums a bit later on. You know, so when you hear someone talking about a band, and I think, you know, that was from the time I was sort of on my journey, and I should have heard of them. I don't know why I haven't. There's quite a few bands like that, but yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought it was really good. And one of those bands that I don't know why some bands just don't seem to. They've got what you need, but they just don't seem to sort of click, do they, with certain people? I don't know what it is. You know, Firehouse have always kind of flown under a lot of people's radar, as far as I was aware. You
They
know?
should have been a lot. I would have thought they would have been a lot bigger than they were. But I kind of anyone when I post stuff in melodic rock groups pages on Facebook, so Firehouse are always one of the ones that, you know, you get more people will comment, oh, Firehouse are amazing. And that first album is one that always stands out as one of the best for people who love that music. The first Firehouse album is one of the best.
Right. Okay.
It's just, but it's definitely
What's the third one like, Dave? Firehouse 3? Because I've been looking at that this week on cassette on eBay, and the guy actually sent me an offer request. And I was like, I don't know what that's like. I've got the first two, and the likelihood is I'll probably just pick it up.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's really good. It's less. It's not as produced as the first two. It's not as polished as them, but it's got kind of a bit more ballads on it. I think they were going for. I think Bryan Adams had come out and had #1 with Everything I Do for You, and then Firehouse, they ripped it off a bit with I Live My Life for You. It's very similar. There was a good lot of ballads on it, but the album's brilliant. Like, it's definitely worth picking up.
Oh, well.
Is it on CD? Are you going to buy the CD or the cassette?
No, I just get. I made this decision last year to just collect all my glam metal stuff on cassette, because purely just down to the price, you can pick up stuff and availability. And I was seeing things on cassette that I just couldn't get on CD. I mean, the prices of glam metal cassettes is absolutely hideous.
Oh,
some of them are like 40, 50, 60 quid. And, you know, whereas you're paying like £4, £5, £6 for a cassette, so it's like a tenth. And it was a no-brainer. So I sold all my CDs, and I thought, well, it also frees up the CD shelf, you know, for more of other stuff.
Yeah, well, no one wants cassettes. So
Yeah,
if you're going to be edited by anyone on a cassette on eBay, it's going to be by me.
Well, you've probably got everything.
I probably do it. Me and you are the only two who want metal cassette or glam metal cassettes.
Oh, Dragster does as well. My mate there in the chat.
The three of us. You the guy that bought the Nelson album.
That's who got that.
We can have a battle. We can have a battle if the Third Winger album comes up on cassette.
I'm liking the way Scott's like putting the dry ice in the room like a proper rock star there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what Mike didn't tell you is he decided he was going to start buying glam metal cassettes last year. And how many have you got already, Mike?
I've got 200 at the moment.
Good.
Yeah,
You were doing videos. You were buying them in lots. You were getting loads at the one time because I remember you were doing your videos and I was loving them. I'd get up before work in the morning and I'd go onto YouTube and I'd see your video, new glam metal cassette video.
I've been very fortunate. I got a lot of VCLT, and and I mean, I've got like Darcy's got this box waiting to send out to me full of cassettes. I mean, where you see that video, it's just ridiculous what is sent out to me. I know what's coming, but it doesn't make me any less excited. I've been very fortunate. Like Bev sent me a load of stuff. Bev sent me all this stuff that I just, to be honest, I was looking at it thinking, who, what, but when I listened to it, like 21 Guns, I was listening to them and thinking, these are fantastic. She absolutely knocked it out the park because I would not have even, picked these up. But a lot of this stuff, from watching your little clips when you put them on Facebook or Scott's videos or another lad in America, Rod, Black Star Vinyl. He's deep into glam metal as well.
Yeah.
Because back in the 80s, I only picked up on the real sort of mega bands, Poison, Cinderella, Faster Pussycat, Vane, stuff like that was there at the time. And when you get all these the ones sort of in the grunge era, I did not even. I've sort of heard the names over the years because Dragster would say to me, you should try this out and try that. But I was so into the whole Seattle thing, and I absolutely hate myself for that period now because I threw myself into that at the expense of a lot of other styles, But at least now, because I'm so sort of set in my ways, I can go back and discover all that stuff, and I've still got something to keep me interested because the likelihood is, if it's a brand new album, I'm probably not going to be that interested. So it's been all right in that respect.
Yeah.
But like Mark was saying before there, like about Firehouse, didn't you say that came out at the time where that was where you were, and you think, how come I haven't heard that? I got this today from 1987, and I'm thinking, how did I not know about that in 1987?
Yeah. But Doug Aldrich. Yeah.
Yeah. Doug Aldrich is on it. Yeah. I'm hearing. I've had it on tonight, and I'm hearing Europe and Dio mix. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Get the second one as well.
But 1987, and I'm thinking, how did I not hear that? But probably very under the radar back then.
Yeah, they did the Transformers song, the theme tune for Transformers movie that came out in the 80s. The animated. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, you're probably what, a good 10 years younger than me, so I might have missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just turned 40 in December there, so yeah. I don't know how many years younger. I know I'm younger, but I don't know how many years younger.
Well, I'm 48, so it's quite a difference, isn't it? 8 years.
Yeah.
I'll just chill out as the baby in the corner.
Wait, what age are you?
35.
Oh.
What,
you wouldn't think you'd all that hair, would you?
Surprised. That was like I thought you were older.
Hey, show everyone your tattoos, Scott. No. This business, wild side.
Cool.
I don't know if I can get a. Wait, that's wild. There we go. Thanks, Cloudy.
He's very good.
Did you do that yourself, Scott?
No. That was a tattoo artist that did that. But I was swaying against it because I always wanted my hands done. But I thought, do you know what? That's like a big step to get your hands done. And I thought, do you know what? I'm fucking 34 years old. I'm never going to be in a job that, like now, I'm never going to be in a job that they're going to go, you can't have your hands tattooed. So I thought, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And then it was the knuckles as well. And I got my left hand and my knuckles done on the same day.
Ouch.
And do you know what? The knuckles weren't actually that bad. It was the hand was worse. But yeah, I just and I really wanted something on my knuckles, but I didn't know what. And I don't know, Wildside was always an option, but I just thought it might be a bit cheesy but because like obviously I'm a massive fan of Motley Crue, it's my favourite song from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Who gives a fuck? What other people
it was the obvious choice, wasn't it? I'd have left hand and then path on my toes.
I'll just have it running down your shaft.
I've got U2 running down my shaft.
I thought it'd just be you.
Yeah,
Just can't even fit the two. No, but I just thought, like, because Girls was the first, like I owned like Slippery When Wet and I owned Appetite for Destruction, but when I heard Girls, that's when
you need more fingers to get them on anyway.
Yeah, I know. But then I thought to myself, you know, it's pretty much that song that got me into rock and metal, like fully into rock and metal. So I thought that's a pretty good thing to have. So that's why I got that.
Well, the song,
huge album, isn't it? That
the song that got me into it was Def Leppard, "Make Love Like a Man." So I'm glad I didn't get that.
And you're still trying to this day.
Actually, I used to have a T-shirt when I was growing up. I used to have a T-shirt, Def Leppard. I was like 14, and I'd be going around the record shops, Def Leppard T-shirt, and on the back it says "Make Love Like a Man." We're looking at this. What the fuck's this guy wearing?
So Dave, show us another album of yours that.
Yeah, next one. Slaughter, Stick It To You. This one I heard up all night. It was on one of those remember these Metal Hammer video magazines. I bought that. I was in one of the record shops and they had one of the Metal Hammer videos. And Up All Night video was on it. I just thought it was amazing. So I went into town that weekend and had a look around the record shops and I actually found the record. It was like probably £3 or £4 or something at the time. But God, I just played that nonstop. I remember getting that one summer, and just all summer I've just played that album. It was unbelievable. But every song, I actually love every song in that one. Any of you guys? Do you remember them? Are you using Slaughter at all?
Yeah,
I've got them. Yeah,
I've got the CD and the vinyl.
I was I think I bought Vinnie Vincent's Invasion and Mark Slaughter was singing on that.
The second one.
He had a great voice, absolutely great voice. So
yeah, he does.
When that album came out, and obviously, you know, the great looking bird on the cover as well. At the age you are, you're like, I'm checking that out. But I was going to say that about Motley Crue. That album, this was a huge album for me and my mates. You know, 1987. And I remember seeing the video for it, and they were, you know, they're all on the motorbikes and they're drinking bottles of JD, and they're off to a strip club. And you know, as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old lad, it was just so sort of heavy metal, so rock and roll. And I know whether it's people's favourite Motley Crue album, it's mine just purely because nowadays I'm you know, the stuff I listen to is a lot heavier. So a lot of the glam albums that I will listen to purely now because they remind me of, in fact, I bought this the other day because it reminded me so much of like period in my life.
Oh, that's so cold.
It's an absolute cracker. You know,
great tunes in that one.
if you'd not heard it before, it's quite dated, I suppose, because it's got that sort of funk element in there, hasn't it? You know, very much of the time. But it just reminds me of such a good sort of period in my life. And that's what a lot of these albums, why I've still got them in the collection and why I do still sort of buy them, because they're not something I'm going to play as often as I am the albums that I listen to and I love. But they're great. You know, they're a massive part of my my childhood. And
I've not actually heard that Bantango album. I've only got the first one.
That's a great one. I remember seeing the video. Untied and True was on one of the it was on one of the Metal Hammer video magazines again, and I went looking for the album. I bought it on cassette first, and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think Howard Benson produced it, so it's another big polished album. Yeah.
I always remember the song "Soul to Soul to Soul," and it was great. But like I say, great memories for me. You know, that especially those years, 87, 88. But that Slaughter album, they did a live one as well, didn't they? Like a live EP.
Live,
off that one.
There's only like 5 songs or something on it. I only found that in Vine. Only in the last couple of years.
Mark Slaughter.
They released that album on the Stick It To You with Stick It Live together on it, but it's really expensive to get online. But one day I was on Discogs and I found the Stick It Live on its own. Someone in Greece had it for sale. It was like €10 or something. So I couldn't believe my luck. I picked it up. But that's really good. It's one of my favorite live albums. How much of it's live, I don't know. I think most of it's in the studio, and then they stick a crowd over the top of it.
Yeah.
You can hear that when you listen to it.
They all do that.
Oh, that's live.
Yeah, I mean, I discovered that album when I first listened to Motley Crue. I was getting into, you know, like Rat, White Lion, all that kind of stuff, Cinderella. And actually, to find more bands, this is what I used to do. I used to go on these websites and like, look up top 50 glam metal bands and basically just run through the lists and then just listen to all these. And, Slaughter was one that stood out straight away. It was obviously Up All Night, Desperately, because like, some of these lists had like maybe 3 or 4 songs that you could sample. And Up All Night, obviously, Desperately, Spend My Life. Those were like is it Fly to the Angels?
Fly to the Angels on that song, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great song. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, aye, that's awesome.
I remember I found the video. They did Slaughter, Stick It To You, the home video. And my sister bought it for me. I was in town with her one day and I found it. And I was like, I don't have money to buy this. She said, well, I'll buy it for you. I must have watched it 100 times. Amazing. So I did all the videos off the first album and some live stuff. And it's so good. Actually, I have to watch it. When we finish on here, I'm going to put it on.
Did you used to buy them?
I still have
to buy them hard and heavies, Dave, or not?
You know, there's a section over, you can't see it, but it's down at the wall. There's, I think, what is that? I probably got about 15 of them, I think. I think they went to...
Probably all of them, mine.
Yeah, I think they went up to maybe 22, something like that. But I think I have about 15. So I'll be on eBay.
I used to buy them.
What?
I used to buy them when they came out and that, but like everything else, it tends to have just left my possession for some reason over the years. I've sold that much over the years, you know, because to be honest, there was a period where you just never ever felt like I would be doing this again. Yeah. You know, in the early 2000s or something like that, I could not foresee me ever buying another album ever again. I just thought, well, you can download them for nothing. That's all I'll do. I'm not bothered, you know. I never fell out of love with the music. I just never ever felt the urge to buy anything physical, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago or something like that. Well, even more recent than that, up until maybe 7 years ago or something like that. And,
I had days like that, though. See,
You've got
something
what?
be having a shit day, and I'll look at my collection, and sometimes just you have that kind of like grey period of a few hours where you think, what the fuck am I doing with this collection?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And then
Because
you
you
put
look
your
at
solo video on, you're like, yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
but I mean, like I always kind of snap out of it, but sometimes you just think, you know, fucking hell, like you've got thousands and thousands of pounds worth of music in your house. You're like, is it fucking really worth it? Having all that stuff.
I think if I had your collection, Scott, yeah, I'd be well pissed off most of the time.
The thing is though, if you got all that money back, what would you do with it? If you got it all in one fell swoop, what would you do with that money? You'd probably go on holiday, and
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? It's like, well,
you'd buy it all back cheaper on cassette.
Yeah.
You've got to remember that you see, if you did get to the point where you sold it, you'd regret it after about a week.
Well, I was just about to say, and this is one of my next questions for like David. I had a period, probably, I suppose when metal was struggling, and I had a period where some of my collection, when I sold it, you know, and I only kind of kept my favourite ones. You strike me as one of those who didn't sell anything from your collection. You just carried on and on and on. And
yeah,
you know,
there was a few years I did, about 2010. From 2010 to 2013, I was like, I got a new laptop, and I'm like, oh, I can listen to these songs on the computer. I'll put all the CDs on, and I said, well, I don't need to buy it. I don't need to buy these. You could, go on to find them to download. I was like, I can sell some stuff. I can make some money on them. And I sold stuff, and it was the biggest regret ever. I ended up buying them all back again. But
I don't know many collectors now who have not had a period where they've just kind of either not bought music or they've sold it. I think every collector does, unless you've only just been doing it, especially like for me, for 30 years, I've been buying music for 30 years. But, my entire house would be full if I'd carried on buying at the rate I do like now, if I'd done that for 30 years. So, you have periods where you slow down, and, like Scott said, there's like sort of grey days where you think, oh, maybe I don't need to buy as much. And then what happens is you see something pop up on Amazon for like a tenner, double vinyl. You fucking hell!
Oh,
here we go. I'm all over that, and that's put me right up.
Well, I stopped buying vinyl. I'd be more into CDs. Years ago, I was more into CDs, and if I had something on vinyl, I'd be like, oh, the sound. I didn't like the sound. I thought the CD sounds sounded better, so I'd start picking up the same ones again, buying the same albums twice, and then I said, oh, I'll start selling some stuff. But when it got to, there was a few years where I just wasn't buying much at all. I gave up on vinyl. I was like, CDs are better. I'll just buy CDs. But it was only when I started watching on YouTube, I was watching LJ was showing stuff on Greeno. Kenneth was one of the main ones. When I see his stuff, I'm like, I'd see him showing these records. I'm like, oh, I gotta get back into vinyl stuff as well. I gotta get my vinyl out. I actually had them. I had them in a crate, and I just had them outside. I was in the attic in my mum and dad's house. They had it converted, and all my records, I had them out of the room to have more room inside. So I shoved them out into the landing. I was like, I'm not gonna listen to records. I have them all on CD. And when I started watching those videos again, I was like, oh my god, these records are amazing. I started bringing them back in. And then I was like, oh, I'm back. I must start buying stuff again. So then I end up with this.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to me. I had quite a small vinyl collection, all CDs really, few cassettes. Yeah. I don't know. My vinyl was probably less than 50, and since joining the VC and making videos, it's I don't know how many I've got now, but it's a fairly big collection all of a sudden. But I think that's the beauty of the music community, isn't it? It inspires you. It makes you sort of change your opinion. you know, you start thinking about things. And I know Mike's very much, Mike likes one format. If he's got it on tape, he doesn't need it on CD or vinyl. I kind of like that about the way he does that. But I'm if I like an album, I'm quite happy to have it in all three formats. Doesn't bother me at all. I won't go hunting for it, but if I see it,
you'll get it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I do. I mean,
I do have some doubles. I've actually got more doubles now than you would think, but as a rule, yeah, I kind of think I just think to myself, well, that money would be better spent on an album I haven't got. I can't listen to two things, you know. What I just do it for that reason. I'm quite tight, you know. It's like if I see I'll never own a CD that costs, you know, like 100 quid or 150 quid or something like that. I'll never own that because I know what I'm like. If it was worth that and I hadn't paid anything like that for it, I would sell it. Because I'm not married to anything, to be quite honest. But as a rule, I do like how I separated the glam metal. Plus, it just makes it easier when you know what you want to listen to, and you can go over to a different part of the room and go, well, you know, I want to listen to that. Because sometimes, like being nearly 50, I don't necessarily want to bend down to the bottom of them shelves. So a lot of the stuff on the bottom doesn't get listened to much because I just go what's easiest.
Do you have like a limit? You know, when you're buying, David, and you're looking for things, do you kind of set yourself a limit, or would you, if you knew the price of something was going to be a lot, would you kind of save up and wait?
I'd go through phases. Like sometimes I'd say I'm going to buy a load of, say, I'll think of bands like Bonfire and I don't know, TNT and stuff. Bands that their albums aren't that expensive, and I'll buy a few cheaper ones one week, and then the next week I mightn't buy as much. So the following week I might buy something that I really want that might have been a bit more expensive. I actually paid the most that I've ever paid for an album recently. I got Brittany Fox Bite Down Hard. Although I think my girlfriend is watching, so I probably shouldn't say how much I paid for it. Here go David Browne is single. David Browne is single on Facebook tomorrow.
You can tell us later in the green room, David. Don't worry.
I'll tell you how much it was. So that's it. So that's Bite Down Hard. It's really, really hard. The picture's fucking shit in this laptop. But anyway, that album, it usually sells for about 350 or 400 euros online. And it was only about a month ago I got it. On the Friday, I posted on my Facebook, I said, my most 3 wanted albums on vinyl. And I held up Motley Crue's album with Karabi, Tora Tora, Wild America, and that Brittany Fox album. So I held them up in the picture on my page, the Instagram page. And the next morning, I go on to eBay. I get an eBay alert. I have an alert on the thing. It says Brittany Fox Bite Down Hard vinyl. Buy it now. I was like, oh fucking, which is this? So I clicked. It says 150 euros. So like, or make an offer. I said make an offer. So like, I can't pay 150 euros. That's ridiculous. But then I said, but it usually sells for 400. But this would be the cheapest it ever sells for. I said, I'll make an offer of 120 euros. So I said, you get nothing 30 quid off. So I made an offer. And I was sitting there for about an hour, sitting and drinking tea, and I'm clicking on the thing to see if anyone else has bought it or if he accepts my offer, and I hear nothing. I was like, fuck, I'm going to pay the 150. So I go to click buy now, and then my phone goes, being you have bought this item, and the seller accepted the 120 on it, which was really cool. And then I got a message from the seller. He said, hey, I recognize your username from Instagram. I thought I would have to accept the offer to you because I love your collection and I want the album to go to a nice home.
Oh, that's
well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, so I got 30 quid off.
Wow.
And then he sent me a few free promos as well. There was a Tora Tora CD, a Jet Boy, and another band, I Napoleon. He put their promo CDs in with the pack as well because he follows my page, which was really cool.
Wow.
So 120. So that was the most they ever paid for an album.
But how good is that, though? Because you've got the album, you've got it for a third of the price it should be. And the guy who sold it you, he's made up as well because he knows you've got it and he knows it's in a proper collection and it's going to get looked after and it's going to get played.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah, it's so good. I'm so happy that. I've been shocked when people write to me and they say, "Oh, I want to send you stuff, because I love your page." It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I take a picture of a CD. You're like, "Oh, this is a fucking CD I'm listening to." Like, it's mad that people actually they look forward to seeing what albums I put up because it brings back memories for them and stuff. It's mad.
That's right.
But it's definitely worth it to have to save 30 quid.
It shows you metalheads. It shows you that metalheads are proper people as well, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I've often thought that in this community, so sort of making videos, and the whole point I wanted to make videos was to meet other people who understood sort of collecting habits, and for me it's all right me having this in a room, but to share it, to show it to people, and make friends through it. And then, like you say, when people are messaging and saying, "Oh, I watched your video and you mentioned this album, and I've got this, I'd like to send it to you," it just fucking blows your head off, doesn't it? It really does.
It's unbelievable. I got a message from a guy. It was about 3 weeks ago. He was in America, and he said, "Hey, I love your page. I just found it recently. I would love to send you." He played in the band. They were called the Rotten Bastards. He says, "I'm in the band, and I want to send you our album. And I love the same stuff as you, so I'm going to go through my stuff and pull out some T-shirts. What size T-shirt are you? I want to give you some T-shirts and some stuff." So about 4 days later, this big, massive box arrives at my parents' house. And I'm looking at it, my mom says, "That's for you." I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't buy it that big. There was a box, it was huge, and it was packed. There was something like 15 T-shirts. There was about 30 CDs, a load of vinyl. There was an Angus AC/DC figure. And like the postage must have been ferocious on this thing because it said it weighed 17 pounds. So, and it was sent first class. Unbelievable. I opened it for my brother. My brother came into my parents' house when I was opening it. I was like, "Holy fuck, is it where'd you get this?" He said, "Some guy follows my page. He wanted to send me some stuff." It's unbelievable.
Brilliant.
And you've had some good retweets, haven't you, from like Def Leppard and other people?
Loads. Def Leppard was a big one. When they shared one of my videos, I think I was just flicking through the records and I put it up, and when they shared it, my page there was loads more followers. Over 24 hours, it went a bit mad. But the amount of bands that I love, if I put an old episode of Headbangers Ball on with my girlfriend, we're watching them. Every band that comes on, I'm like, "Oh, they shared my video. That singer follows my page. The guitar player loves my page. He messaged me." It's mad, like all these bands, and they follow my page, and it's mad to think that years ago, if I thought, these people would even give a shit that I'm showing a picture of their album, like, mad.
Do you not think though, as we go through life and we get older, the way that metal is now, do you think that it's as if the world's getting that bit smaller? Where we are, I know people probably don't agree with this, and they say, "Oh, metal's going to live on forever," and all the rest of it. I actually believe we're a dying breed, and I know that, and I think that once upon a time, you wouldn't get a celebrity having anything to do with you at all. And now they don't seem like I've looked on your page, David, and you're friends with loads of different people from bands and stuff. And once upon a time that wouldn't have happened, but now they sort of go, "Oh well, he's my people," you know what I mean? And yet everyone starts to be friends with each other, and the world just feels like a slightly smaller place than it did 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly there.
Social media is obviously had a massive part of that, because you can just, there's no, you don't have to write to a fan club, you don't have to do this, do that. You can just talk, if you wanted to, directly to that person. I mean, I thought it was amazing. I went on Instagram and I put a picture up of Rob Halford's book to say that I was reading it, and Rob Halford liked it.
Yeah.
Rob Halford liked the photo. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
He liked something of mine as well. I can't remember what it was. I think it was could have been a naked picture.
Were you standing with your belly out?
No, it was I put up I think it was Turbo or something like that. Maybe no one else likes it, but Halford must like it. I think I had the Turbo album up and Halford likes this. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole social media thing is obviously damaging in some ways, but it's fucking amazing in some others.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, on Instagram, I put something up about Death Angel, and Rob Cavastani's fucking liked the photo, and I put an album by Weather Leone, and then she like commented, and I put, what was the other one? Oh, a Twisted Sister album up, and JJ French commented on my photo. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I love it when that happens. I put one up the other day of Rage and Peavy.
I saw
Peavy
that.
Wagner sent me a message. Yeah. I was like, that's fucking ace. It's like, you know, you still get starstruck a little bit. Oh, fucking hell, this is the singer out of Rage who just messaged me.
Yeah.
He's just the same as us, isn't he? You know, he's got the Instagram page. But you're right what you say, Mike. It makes it easy to interact with these. I mean, the amount of times, especially the music I'm into, the amount of times I'm looking for something, I can't find it. So I just message someone in the band and just where can they get your stuff from? And they always get back to me. So try this distro in Germany or that distro in Poland or whatever. And that's kind of the way it is. That's the powerful tool of the social media, isn't it? The nice side.
I did that as well. The guitarist, the Trickster, Steve Browne, he played in Def Leppard. He filled in for Vivian when he was sick. I messaged him. There was a Trickster live album a few years ago, and you check Discogs, it was like €100 or something to buy one. And I messaged him. I was like, I'd love to get this CD. I can't find it anywhere. And he said, hey, send me $20. I'll send you one. I'll post one out to you. He says, I've one left in my house. And then it arrives, and he put in a Def Leppard guitar pick with Steve Browne on the back and some Trickster guitar picks, and all shoved into the plastic on the CD.
Wow.
And that was really cool. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's mad.
You know what? I think it's going to add to this whole... do you know what is dying out? I mean, I don't totally agree with like metal guys dying out, but what is dying is like the age of the rock star. Apart from obviously this, but
that's the name, the rock star.
The rock star.
Scout.
But do you know what I mean? Like back in the 80s, when these bands and singers that were like just totally idolized by millions. They were idolized because they were like a bit mysterious, because you didn't see them posting on fucking Twitter every day. You didn't know their views and stuff. They were just these kind of like almost like mythological people that people just looked up to and idolized.
You only ever saw them on stage.
Exactly. You go to a show
now
and
you,
go, oh,
now you see them on
up.
the beach with their wife having a drink.
Yeah. With their bellies hanging out and
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? though? So and now you see them on everything. They're on Twitter. They're on Instagram, Facebook. You know what they're doing. They're posting pictures of their dinner, and they're just like, you're not a rock star. You're just a guy who sings. Do you know what I mean? The kind of mystical, the mysticalness is kind of like gone now.
I think with the glam metal scene, because glam metal came to prominence at the same time as MTV, and it was perfect because it was all visual, wasn't it? You had everyone looking like Scott if they really put the work in, you know. And whereas the other bands, like death metal bands and stuff, they're just very much just a jeans and t-shirt type, aren't they? There's not really a lot to see. They're not a spectacle. The music's maybe, I mean, take the music out of it. Visually, they aren't a spectacle. I remember seeing one of my earliest memories when I started getting into metal and stuff was the Poison's Talk Dirty to Me video. And I just remember sitting at home thinking, I want these lot to be my friends. I want to be there where they are doing them things. And I know a lot of that was like speedy camera work and, you know, different takes and stuff. But in my young brain, I just thought, they're having a fucking great life.
Yeah. Huge big stages where they're running up and down and
rolling around
and fireworks going off and all sorts of stuff. And it was like mega. And then when you looked at like the death metal bands, it was like the stage was the size of a fucking mini, and they were like, you know, it was like it's like what I was saying about the video for Girls. You know, these guys they were dressed in the gear. They had fucking big bikes and bottles of JD, and it was that whole it created such an image. And you were like, I want to knock about with them. They look like a right good night out. That I want some of that, you know.
Yeah.
I think
So it does, as a teenager, you suck right into all that.
Yeah, I think it's because they really created, like, they were almost characters.
Yeah.
Like these death metal bands will wake up in the morning, put clothes on, and whatever clothes they put on, that's the clothes they'll wear on stage that night. When you had these like glam metal bands, they had costumes and it was a proper production. It was like a show. Like you'd have like their own wardrobe, and I think that's what I really like from it. It's entertainment.
Yeah,
it's not just going to hear the songs and see. It's just the whole event of a show.
Yeah.
They made sure they put the effort in, and I hate to see like glam metal bands getting maligned and like rubbished, because the effort that they put in, fair enough, they weren't like hitting double bass pedals and fucking 200 beats a minute, but they were doing other things that were just as important. You know what I mean? They were all showmen. I mean, I know like probably these days there probably isn't many bands like drummers doing fucking stick twirling and stuff like that, but that was all when you're seeing these little clips on videos back in the day. That was like you remembered them, and you used to sit and wait for that part to come on the video and things like that.
You'll tell David the story about your drum audition, Mike, when you got told you were two.
Yeah, there's a band. In fact, wait on. I've got the record here. This band here from where I live in Whitehaven. They're called Yardstick. They were like, well, they were in NME, and they were described as tattooed beefcakes making motorway accident music. And I auditioned for them, and I just done my best on the drums. and after 2 songs, they sort of looked at each other, and they all knew what each other was thinking, and they went, "Nah, there's too much of the fucking Tico Torres. Fuck off." I wish I was as good as Tico Torres.
Yeah.
Too much Tico Torres.
Yeah. I don't. They wanted like. They thought if you used a bass, drum, a snare, 1 tom, a crash, and a hi-hat, that's more than enough, lad. You don't be trying to go around any toms. Fuck off. So, have we got through David's favourite albums yet or not?
There's more. The next one. Taiketo, Don't Come Easy.
Oh yeah.
This one's unbelievable. I saw these on. I bought Hard and Heavy. Not Heavy. Sorry, Metal Hammer Video Magazine. This one I bought it because Europe were on it, and I'd never heard of Taiketo before. And I had Forever Young video on this thing. I was like, oh my god, unbelievable. So I couldn't wait. I remember I bought the video and I couldn't wait for the following week. I could only go to town. My mom and dad only let me go to town on the Saturday then because I was only like 14. So I was waiting for the next Saturday to go into the record shop, and I went into the sound cellar, the metal shop, and I asked him. I said, "Have you got Taiketo? Don't Come Easy?" And he says, "Oh, I think I have it. We had him here for a few years. So this is 1994, I think. So the album came out in 91. So he knew he had it somewhere in the shop. It's been sitting there for 3 years. So he says, come back to me in an hour, and I'll see if I can find it." So I went off, and I came back an hour later, and he says, "Oh, I found that CD for you." He says, "There's a long box, which I have here. You know the long box CDs. Remember these?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he told me that. He says, "It's an extra £1 for the box." So he sold me that for an extra £1. And then I thought, hold on, this is the box off the CD. He's charging me an extra £1 for a box off my own CD I'm buying. But it turned out anyway that the box is really hard to get, because I met Danny Vaughan. Danny Vaughan played a gig in Dublin years ago, and I went up to him with the long box, and he looked at it and he was like, "I didn't even know the album came out in long box." I think he wanted it. I think he wanted to keep it. And I was like, "Oh, will you sign it to Dave?" You're not getting me long box.
That's a great album.
Yeah.
That's one of the first vinyl I would steal off you.
It's so hard to get. It's so
Yeah, I
hard
was
to
going
find.
to say that's not an easy find on vinyl, that is it?
I've had that on my watch list on eBay for about 4 years, and it's never ever got to the stage where I've been able to afford it.
Well, I had the CD, and in about 2007, because I was in the attic of my mum and dad's, I said the ceiling was slanted, and I was like, I'm going to buy my favorite albums and hang them on the wall in plastic sleeves, because the walls were all slanted. And I was like, well, my favorite album's Taiketo. I went on, I bought the vinyl. I think it was like €10 or something at the time, because 2007, no one wanted vinyl.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I went on, I bought it at the right time, because I see the prices it goes for now is ridiculous.
Mental.
So, wow, what an album! Absolutely unbelievable.
It's a great album. I mean, the first song, probably the biggest song off it's Forever Young, and that's a fantastic song.
Hey, the cassette. I have that in the back as well.
Yeah, I think I've got that, but Mark's
I've only got the CD.
That.
I think I paid £1 for that off eBay a few years
Oh, you have
back.
the cassette as well.
I have got that. I can join that party.
Yeah.
And that. You were wanting that as well, weren't you? Did you get that on record?
That's the one I'm looking for on record. I don't have the tape either. So if you put it on eBay, you'll see me buying it.
£1.60. I got that about 3 weeks ago.
Well, I'll give you $1.70 for it if you want to stick it on.
Oh, yes. I'll get an envelope. Just a minute.
He might charge you an extra £1 for the long box, though.
Yeah. Does Danny Vaughan have a YouTube page where he uploads loads of glam metal full albums? Or is that someone just using Danny Vaughan's name?
Wasted Danny or something they're called.
That's Danny Wasted.
Yeah, well, he was in Wasted, wasn't he? He done that album. He done that album.
Prayers.
Yeah, where the guy sat on the floor on the front of it.
Pete Way. That was. I remember when I was a kid. That was one of my albums that I bought, the Taiketo one, and then Wasted Save Your Prayers. I remember reading through an old Kerrang magazine, and it said it was because my brother was older. He bought Kerrang and Raw whenever Striper or Blackfoot were ever in it. So these old magazines were in the house. So when I got into these bands, I started going back over all these old magazines, and I'd read everything. But I remember seeing a review in Kerrang, I think it was, of the Taiketo album, and it said Danny Vaughan, and in brackets, Wasted. So I was like, Wasted? I have to find this Wasted album. And every week I go to town, I'd ask you in the record shops, do you have an album, Wasted, Save Your Prayers? And they wouldn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But eventually one day I went, and a secondhand shop, it was there, and I bought it. I have it on vinyl. It was like $2.95 or something. And brilliant album.
The first I come across them, there was I think there was a Kerrang video, and it had just a load of videos on it, like a Kerrang compilation VHS, and it had the what is it? What they call the song?
It was Heaven Tonight, wasn't it?
Heaven Tonight, yeah. And I got the 12-inch of that.
Yeah, me too. The red vinyl.
Well, I didn't have the red one, no. I was just, I was only poor.
I found mine at a record fair. It was £1. That's what before I had the album. So the first time I ever got to hear Wasted, so I knew I was looking for the album. The first thing I found was that 12-inch. It was at a record fair, and it was £1, and it was red vinyl. And when I listened to it, I was like, "Oh, geez, I have to get that Wasted album." And as I said, eventually turned up one day. But it was mad in them days when you're going around the record shops and you were hoping, you were digging through the sections, hoping to find something. It's so easy now, I could sit here and think, oh, what do I not have? And then you just go on eBay, Discogs, and type it in. You have it within a week. It's sitting on your shelf. Well, it's mad. It kind of took away the excitement of finding, going into the record shop and finding, jeez, I've been looking for this for years. Now I could just sit and think, oh, I don't have whatever, and then I'll have it in a week. I'll have it in the post.
It's so much better finding something in a shop.
Those days
much better.
Unfortunately, because of the internet, a lot of shopkeepers of these shops, they kind of know the value of things now.
That's the thing. They're going on to Discogs. What's the most it sold for? That's the sticker on it. That's what they charge. It's bollocks.
It's very rare that you can go into a record shop and see something that you know is worth a lot, and it's a £5. They're all clued up now, aren't they?
No, it doesn't happen anymore.
Well, the excitement's gone with, because as soon as someone's doing something, you know about it, that they're working on it or whatever. And years ago, you just all of a sudden you would be watching Power Hour and there'd be a video on, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't even know that they were doing anything,
Yeah.
And I always remember the first time some of my mates had been talking about Skid Row, and I hadn't heard them, and I was watching Power Hour, and 18 and Life come on, and I was like, oh, just blown away. And it was just like, I preferred just being thrown out at me and me not known, and everything was sort of drip fed back then. You played albums longer. Someone else on a stream yesterday was talking about years ago, you played an album hundreds of times. These days, you buy a new album, you listen to it for a couple of times, and you say, yeah, that's good, and put it on the shelf, and it just seems to be forgotten.
It's just disposable. It's like, what's next? I have that now, yeah. What's next?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you remember the in the magazines, like say Kerrang and Raw, they used to have little adverts in record shops. So, they'd have a little ad and be new album, and then it'd be list of stuff for sale coming soon, and then you could message the shop and ask them for a list. So what myself and my brother used to do, we'd make it a letter, post it off to the shop and say, can you send us a list of what you have by Def Leppard, Skin, Europe, Thunder, whatever. And then you'd get a handwritten letter back a couple of weeks later from the shop of everything they had. And then that's how we got our stuff. It was mad. Now it's just go on the computer and I have it in a week. But all that excitement's gone, There
used to be a record shop near me. I grew up in Blackpool, little town outside of Blackpool called Cleveley's, and they had a record shop there, Cobweb Records it was called, and it was like, it's where me and my mates went, and they had this book, this huge big thick black book on the counter at one end, and it was obviously his book of distros and different labels, and we used to go in there and he'd say, can we have a look at the book, and we'd go through it, and he obviously had a good relationship with Noise Records at the time. And we used to go in there and we'd just start picking out what we wanted, and he would order those things for us. Be about a week, and I'll have it in. And we'd go back a week later, and there it was, the new Voivod or Overkill, new all sorts of stuff, Nuclear Assault, and it was stuff that you couldn't buy anywhere else. HMV had a bit of a heavy metal section, but it was the more commercial but heavy metal. If you were looking for, the the second Voivod album back in those days. You weren't going to find it anywhere. And it was great that he did that for us. And he could see that we were excited. And I think that made him like, these lads are into this. They're buying the physical. And he didn't have to do it, but he would always order what we wanted and put it in with his bigger order, And it was great. I used to love doing that, And those, as much as like we talk about social media, that it's great, but those kind of things that I've got a lot of fondness for have gone. Darcy,
I took your place tonight, Darcy.
Hi, Darcy.
So what?
You didn't know enough about glam metal tonight, Darcy. You had to be replaced by me.
So what? You've got your own band, David, haven't you? Tell us about that a bit.
I've a 80s metal tribute band called Burning Bullets. So we do Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. It's a mixture. We can do the heavier stuff like that, and then we even do Poison and Whitesnake, and it's great because there's no other bands around Dublin that play that stuff. So it's like a night out for everyone who loves that music. So only. Well, I suppose you haven't got to do a gig in the last year, but before that, we only just got into wearing the wigs and stuff. So because it added to the show, we did a Halloween show and we dressed up. It was a bit more serious before that, but once we dressed up for Halloween, we were like, it's more like a show. People love this shit. So now we get into our wigs and the leather trousers and all, and it's brilliant. It's so good. But when I joined the band 5 years ago, they were trying for ages to find a singer. I had been playing in another band before called Licks. We were a glam band, but it was a tribute band, but it was more just it was Poison and it was all the lighter stuff. But they ended up they got married and had kids and they didn't want to play anymore. So I was a couple of years of doing nothing, and I was like, I really want to start gigging again. So I found an ad online that they were looking for a singer. So I messaged them and I was like, hey, I'd love to audition for your band. So they sent me a list of stuff they do. There's a list of bands, and I'm looking at like a Scorpions, Bon Jovi, and all. I can sing all that stuff. So I messaged, I'll sing them. So I sent them a list of songs I can sing. And they said, no, we'll tell you the songs to sing. So they sent me fucking Steelheart. The one from the Rockstar movie, We All Die Young.
Oh yeah.
And then a Skid Row. What was it? Skid Row. Which one was it again? What do I remember you? What was it? No, I can't remember. It's a fucking Skid Row song anyway that Sebastian Bach can't even sing. And a few others. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to... These singers that sing them songs can't even sing them. I have no chance. So, and Iron Maiden Wasted Years was in there as well. So I never sang Iron Maiden either. And I said, all right, well, I learned them. And I did is I bought some karaoke versions of the songs online. I put them onto a disc and I went to a rehearsal studio in town and just booked like 2 hours and just put them on and started singing them. And so I was like, I can actually sing these songs. This is good. So I went into audition and the guys were like, yeah, you're perfect for the band. It's great. But I thought I had no chance of singing them. But no, they worked out great. So we've been playing for 5 years now. We've been around. So it's great. So we've got to...
If any bands come through the town, you'll maybe get a support slot here and there, do you?
But because we're a cover band, it's hard. And the only one we did get to do, John Karabi played an acoustic show just over a year ago. It was December 19th. And I messaged the guys that booked them and I was like, well, can we open for Karabi? We're big Karabi fans. And the guy wrote back and said, oh yeah, that's cool. Can you send me some videos of you guys playing acoustic? And I was like, well, we never played acoustic before. So we've got like the 4 of us in the band. So I messaged the guitar player and I was like, we can open for Karabi, but we're going to have to learn the songs acoustic. So he says, all right, we meet up. So we met up and we went over some songs. And it was hard to kind of, songs we played, to come up with a way to do them acoustic. We could do an Ace of Spades acoustic and Ugly Kid Joe, I Hate Everything About You, and all these, AC/DC, But we picked out, like, I think it was 10 songs. And they sounded great. And we made a few videos, sent to your man. He said, "Oh yeah, perfect. You can open for Karabi." So that was the last gig I actually got to do, because soon after then the virus hit, and but it was brilliant. We got to open for him, and we were singing like "Every Rose Has Its Thorn." All the crowd were singing along, and I remember looking over, and Karabi had his head pressed up against a glass door, and he was looking out, and everyone was saying, Karabi's listening to me singing.
That's quality.
So it was cool. So it was different.
You really got to meet him and that, did you? Did you get any of your stuff signed?
Yeah, I brought. It was too awkward to bring my vinyl, so I brought the CD of the Scream album and the Union albums that he did, and he signed them, and he was really cool. It was really nice. I went up with my girlfriend, and I was like, "Hey, can you sign these?" And he said, "Hey, is she with you? I think she's with me." He was delighted. He was. It's like, John Karabi hit on me. Yeah. Like, come on, we're going. But
I like the name of the band as well, Burning Bullets.
Burning Bullets. Yeah, they had that name before I joined. That's a really cool name. I thought it might sound like people might be expecting a heavier band, Burning Bullet, and then they go and I'm singing Every Rose.
No, I think it suits the music you play perfect.
It's great, yeah. We did a gig. We went up north. It was in Oma, and there was some people went to the gig and they were really into metal. There was one guy and he came up and he was like, "Hey, play some Anthrax." Like, Anthrax. We don't do Anthrax. He said, "Play Anthrax," and he was really pissed off, this guy. So for the whole gig, he sat there like this. And then we played Every Rose Has Its Thorn, and he had two of them. They're like, "We need to get out of Oma quickly." Play Anthrax.
Brilliant.
Well, no, it's great. I look forward to playing again. Hopefully, we get to do a gig this year. But it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to see any live gigs going ahead soon.
It is, yeah. It's been hard. It's been really hard for live bands, hasn't it? The last 12 months.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even if obviously some people rely on that as an income. You know, but it's just, you know, when you're doing it for fun and you're doing it because you enjoy doing it. You know, meeting up with the lads and rehearsing and the whole crack that goes with that. You kind of miss all that, don't you?
Yeah, well, we do like 4 gigs a year. We do like Paddy's weekend. There's a big crowd for that. Halloween, New Year's Eve stuff. You know, they give the place that we play. They always say, "Oh, you're our favorite band to play. We put you on the weekends." They know there's a big crowd because he said when you play, people will stay. He said if you put other bands on, people come in. We go somewhere else. But when they come in and we're playing, they'll stay. So it kind of keeps the crowd. But yeah, we really miss it. We definitely don't make money out of it anyway, because any money we get, we buy kebabs on the way home, and that's it for us.
What's the scene like over in sort of Dublin or Ireland?
It's not the same as it was like years ago. There would have been a lot of people who would go to the rock bars, and more of them are closing down. There's 2 rock bars left. And when you go in, there's not that many people. I don't know. I don't know whether it's too expensive for people to go out, that they're staying at home now.
What's the big venue there, Dave? Is it the Limelight or something?
Oh, that's up north. That's in Belfast.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So where do the bands play in your area then?
There's a few different places. There's a place called the Academy. There's a guy, Dublin Metal Events he's called, and he books all the heavier bands. You know, you'd have Annihilator and stuff like that playing there. That's a decent venue. Besides that, there's the tiny place. We play a small place, you know, Fibber McGee's it's called.
I know Julie went on holiday last year to Dublin Mine, or year before, whatever, and they went on a long weekend. She says it's fucking expensive. So that's it.
But if you go into like the city centre, you're looking at could be €7, €7.50 for a pint. You know, That's why people aren't going out anymore. You know, I bought a bottle of Trooper. Actually, the last time the place that I played, they sold Trooper, and I think it was €8 for a bottle of Trooper.
Jesus.
But do you know who I am? I'm the singer in the band up there.
I've got the Thai kettle long box.
But it is, you know, if you go somewhere,
wig off so they know.
I always think to
I'm on
myself,
Instagram.
like, if the beer's
Singer
dedicated,
follows me on Instagram. I'm not paying €8 for it.
I always think like if you go in somewhere and the beers are expensive, I always think that could be like that's a CD. That's half the price of a CD. I'm after. You know what I mean? That's why I just don't go out. I just think I'm not going out anymore.
You could have been locked for the price of that Britney Fox album.
Yeah.
They fucking remortgage your house.
Yeah, you could have bought a semi-detached in Whitehaven for that. And still had money for a long box Thai kettle.
Someday Danny Vaughan's gonna message me and he's gonna offer me 500 for it. I know it.
That's quality. That
or a box of Troopers. I don't know.
So what about some hidden gems, Dave?
Hidden gems. This is one of my favorite ones. A band called South Gang. Painted Angel.
I'm after that one.
So am I.
That one's unbelievable.
I've never heard of them.
That Tainted Angel.
But they know you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got that one. When did I get that? I got that. It must be about 25 years ago. And the record shop in town, Sound Sellers, the metal shop, he actually had this on vinyl when I was looking for it. I was digging through. The way they kept their vinyl was they used to keep the sleeves out in boxes and you dig through them and then you bring the sleeve up to the counter and then all the records are filed by catalog number, which was ridiculous. So he'd have, say, Music for Nations number 26. So he goes through all these shelves, fucking ridiculous. And he's like, MFN, he's pulling out all these things. And he came after about an hour, he came out, he says, you have the sleeve. He says, I can't find the record. And I was so disgusted because I was looking for it for years. I was pissed off. And this was like 20 years ago at least. About 2 years ago, I go in one day, he says, I found that South Gang album. I actually found it. Yeah, I bought it since. And it's actually still in there. And he's charging €35 for it. But that album's amazing. It's produced Desmond Child, who wrote all the, they wrote the Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and Alice Cooper stuff. You know, he worked with them on that one. And the guitar player Butch Walker, he ended up, he was like a big producer he writes songs for Avril Lavigne and Bowling for Soup and all these guys now. But the album's amazing. I don't know, have you heard of it before? Yeah.
I've heard of it. I haven't got it, and I'm trying to sort of. I'd rather hold off listening to it on YouTube or something and just buy it. Yeah. I've got an alert set up for the cassette.
I've got an alert for the vinyl.
So we're gonna have a bidding war.
So what else have you got there?
Huh?
What other gems have you got there?
Another one. Let's see. Blue Tears.
Wow.
Oh,
now, these guys, when they were in the studio, they must have put on Hysteria and Slippery When Wet and said, all right, let's make an album and just copy the two of these, because this album is just like the two of them albums combined. It's unbelievable. The choruses and all on it are just like Def Leppard, and all the verses sound like Bon Jovi. But
wow.
Has any of you guys heard of this before? No?
No, I haven't.
I've seen the cover. I've not heard it.
It's really good, really good. Definitely look them up, especially if you like Def Leppard or Winger or stuff like that. But they just totally copied the sound, and it actually sounds like the choruses sound like Def Leppard, and the production, whatever production they got on it, it just sounds like those two albums combined, Slippery When Wet and Hysteria, which are two of my favorite albums ever. So when I got this, I was like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing.
What label? Is it a big label, that, David?
They were an MCA, I think, was it? The MCA.
Oh, okay.
And it's 1990.
Is it a one-off?
It was a one-off. Yeah. Actually, in about 1999, 2000, I think they came out with a follow-up album, which was pretty much just the singer and a lot of other guys. I don't know who they were. They weren't the original guys. It's not that good, but that one there from start to finish, brilliant. Nice. I think it's probably pretty hard to find these days. I don't know.
Yeah, MCA don't really do much in the way of reissue and do it. They kind of put it out and say, well, that's it. If you missed it, tough shit.
That's it, yeah. But, the singer died. He was the main songwriter, and I think he might have produced it, actually. Greg Fulkerson, whose name, Michael Sweet from Striper brought him in to produce his first album. That album really sounds like Def Leppard and Bryan Adams. So he probably heard this album. He was like, I'm going to bring that guy in to make me sound like that. But that's definitely one worth checking out. Blue Tears.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that one.
What's the next one? Next one. Roxy Blue.
Oh, fucks.
They sound like kind of like Van Halen. Van Halen and Warrant mix, so it's real party metal, but they came out a bit too late. You can see he was even doing the David Lee Roth jump on the back there. They came out in 92, so it was a bit too late. So Nirvana had come out and all at that stage. So they had a song "Rob the Cradle," and Janie Lane does backing vocals, and it's just party metal album, but it was a bit too late. But definitely worth checking out. They released an album it was about 2 or 3 years ago on Frontiers Records. But it's more modern rock stuff because the singer of the band, he started the band Saliva. I don't know if you know they're like a modern. He started that band. He left. They did the first album. He was actually the drummer. So the singer Roxy Blue was the drummer for Saliva on the first album, and then he left, and then they became big. But that's more the sound that they had on their last album. They more sounded like kind of Saliva type stuff. They were more modern rock, and everyone. I saw reviews whenever I post the album on my page. People always like, "Oh, first album's amazing. Second one fucking sucks." I love it. I like all those bands. I like all Saliva and 3 Days East and all that stuff. But
that's another hard album to get.
The Roxy Blue.
Yeah.
Really hard to get. Yeah, I found that one. It's probably about 10 years ago. I got it for about €30. I think I paid for it. It's it is actually pretty hard to get. But definitely worth looking. If you probably get the cassette on tape pretty cheap these days.
Yeah.
Get that one for your collection.
Yeah. I'll give it a go. I'm not actually big on Van Halen. I think I don't own any Van Halen, but I think I'm prepared to buy 5150.
That's an awesome album.
Yeah, I remember a friend having that back in the day, and I used to like that, but I never really bothered with any of the other stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I think David Lee Roth Van Halen's different to Sammy Hagar Van Halen.
Hagar's
I love 5150 and OU812. Just two huge albums for me. Huge album.
The one after that, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
That was one I looked for on vinyl for years, and it was the week before Eddie Van Halen died, or was it the day? I think it was the day before Eddie Van Halen died. I was scrolling through the internet, and I went to Amazon Germany, and a seller had that one on vinyl for €20. Like €20. I've been looking for that for years because it sells for big money, and I bought it.
It does.
But the next day he died. I think it was the next day he died, and then it was like €200 to buy that album online. When I was worried, it was like, I hope my package arrives in the mail before.
Yeah. Would do.
I hope the seller doesn't say, "Oh, I don't have it in stock because he had died."
Yeah. I hope we sent it already.
Yeah.
So, that's a great album. That's actually one of my favorite Van Halen albums.
Yeah, I like that one as well. But 5150 was one of the sort of first albums. There was a lad who came to our school, and he'd come from Canada, and he was into Twisted Sister and Van Halen, Alice Cooper, and so he was quite a big influence on us. What year was Film 50? Was it 86? Was it? Yeah.
86. So, I think it's 86.
I was still at school when that. So that was one of those albums, like we were saying at the beginning of the stream, where your collection's small, so the albums you do have, you play over and over and over again. You know all the words, you know who produced it, when it was recorded, everything about it. And 5150 was one of those albums for me, just massive.
Yeah. That's classic kind of. That's summer nights. That's always whenever it's a sunny day outside. Oh, the 5150, and you put summer nights on.
Well, even just the way it starts. Hello, baby. You know, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you were supposed to do.
A little bit.
What other ones have you got there then, Dave?
This is actually one of my favorite ones. Trickster here.
Oh,
now I got
Christ.
Yeah, you want to be saved up for this one. This one, I got their first album. I love their first album. I saw Give It To Me Good video on Headbangers Ball one night, and I was like, oh my god. Went out and bought the first album. I thought it was great, but when I got this one, it was like 100 times better than that one. It's much heavier, much better songs. It took me years to find the vinyl. I had an alert on eBay and Discogs for years, and I used to every day go and check Trickster here. Last one sold was like 4 years previous. I was like, I'm never gonna get that fucking album on vinyl. And it was one day I woke up and I said, Trickster here is gonna come online today. I'm gonna buy it. And I went onto Discogs and I clicked. There was none. I was like, fuck. So I went downstairs, had my breakfast, came upstairs, clicked on it, refreshed the page, nothing. I sat there for a while, refreshed the page. Trickster here for sale. Someone in Italy had them for sale. And I swear to God, it hadn't been on sale for like 4 years. And I was like, buy it now. It was on Discogs. So it was like 100. I know it was €100. But I was like, I have to buy it. And I bought it. I couldn't believe it. But it was weird that I woke up that morning. I was like, Trickster here is going to come up for sale today. And it did. It was so weird.
That's a superb album.
Have you not got that on CD, Scott? That you bought off me?
Yeah.
I thought so.
It's amazing. I don't know why you gave it away. Well, not give it away, but
I didn't actually know anything about it, and to be quite honest, I still don't.
It's awesome.
Really good. It is much better than the first one. The first one sounds really light or something. It's real, and there's a really tinny sound or something off the production on it. But this one it was just much better. So good.
Yeah.
I seriously recommend that we stop asking David to show these now, because I'm convinced Scott is going to be booking a ferry over to Dublin pretty shortly.
He's just showing all the stuff that I want.
Go on, what else you got, Dave?
Screw it then, right?
Danger.
Screw it, yeah.
Oh, fuck it, now.
Is that another one you're after?
Yeah, fucking.
Oh. You know, I thought the first one was good. This one, they have a song called Slipper the Big One. And you know, when you get a song called Slipper the Big One, you know the album's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. You're looking for that one, Scott, are you?
Yeah, I've got it on CD, but I've not got it on vinyl.
Yeah, it's another one that's really hard to find.
Yeah,
definitely. It's just
all right. I know a house full of them.
I wonder why is like that so hard to get on vinyl, but it's easier to get on CD. You just thought, did they obviously just do short presses of the vinyl, huge presses of the CDs, or what?
It was 91, so I think 91, the record shops were kind of doing less vinyl. They were trying to bring in those long boxes to try to make the CDs more. The CDs were only taken off, so they were like, all right, well, they look small. People aren't going to want to buy these, so let's put a long box on them to still make them look good. And they were just trying to do away with vinyl.
Yeah.
So
they
91
must have been short presses of the vinyl, mustn't they?
So I think if you look for that album online now, it could be near €100 to buy one.
Yeah, and I bet you can get it off eBay on CD for a $5. You know?
Tenner, $5 or $10.
Yeah. It was cheap on CD.
Yeah.
Well, shall we have what have we got in our collections to challenge David to see if he's got them?
I think I've got one that might challenge him, but I'm pretty convinced he's got it. But
there's nothing I've got in my collection that David hasn't. There's no way.
Right.
Look at that collection in the background.
I'm going to get one down. Hang on.
this is going to be my only shot.
And then I have to go and see if I have it, do I?
Should I go first? Because I've got mine ready. I actually bought this. You've just mentioned this guy, and I bought this thinking that Desmond Child was involved in this, and he isn't, I don't think. But have you got Child's Play? Because I bought that thinking that was a Desmond Child album, but it turns out it isn't. But it's still an awesome album. You got that, Scott?
I might have it on vinyl. And you know, the drummer follows my Instagram.
Oh well, that's me knocked out the quarterfinals.
Not only does he know him, he knows the album, but he actually knows the band.
Yeah,
John Allen, the drummer. Yeah, he went on to do he was in a pop punk band called SR71. He joined them for a while, but yeah, that album's amazing. I think Howard Benson did that one. Maybe that's where you're mixed up with Desmond Child. I think Desmond Child, Howard Benson, they did a lot of the production.
No, I was literally just taking the Child name, and I don't know why I got it in my head that Desmond Child was part of it, and I listened to a podcast. I think it was an Eddie Trunk interview with Desmond Child. I don't know whether you've heard it. Really awesome. I love listening to. I'm a big podcast nerd. And I love listening to the long, hour and a half, 2 hours of all this inside information. Just while I think on, if you've never watched it, any of yous, but David and especially, Full in Bloom, the channel on YouTube. He interviews loads of glam metal bands and loads of producers and gives you the inside story. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm addicted to them. I'm just binge watching his entire channel. It's fantastic. You've got to check out Full in Bloom.
Full in Bloom. And he interviewed Desmond Child, did he?
No. No, that was it. That was Eddie Trump. I was just thinking.
Full in Bloom. He's paying you to promote his page.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, I must remember to tell you about that as well.
Who's that?
Yeah, it's not that good.
Desmond Child.
Oh, right. That's Desmond Child album.
Go on, Scott. What have you got for him?
Right. I think this is the only one. I might have some others, but...
Do you know what? I don't have that one.
Yes!
Wow. Yeah, I used to have it on CD, but I sold it because the singer's voice annoyed me so much. I was like, I have to sell that CD.
Look at that.
I know the picture's great. But I would love to buy it back again. I would buy it on vinyl again. If I ever see it, I'd buy it. But I don't have that one.
Good.
I do have the Shock 'Em Dead movie on VHS with the guitar player in it though.
Jesus.
Wow.
Is that him that was married to Lita Ford?
He was, yeah. Jim Gillette, Joe.
Yeah.
That's right,
yeah.
But that's one I have. I need to pick that up again.
Look like twins.
What about you, Mark? You got anything there?
The only thing I've got, and I could go for, was this.
Do you know what? I bought it on Discogs yesterday.
No way.
I have the
King
CD.
of the Hill. Sorry, Kiss of the Gypsy.
I have the CD and I've got the single. What's it called? Got What It Takes or something like that.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I have the 10-inch vinyl of that, and I bought the vinyl yesterday on Discogs for like €5.
Wow. I had to show this because they're from Blackpool, these boys. And
I do have it. Where is it?
Darren, the guitarist there, he runs his own music shop now in Cleveland's.
I have to see
so he
these.
has got it really.
He has.
Yeah. Until I have it on vinyl, I don't have it.
Oh yeah, this guy, he's got his own record
Honestly, we have to hold the big picture.
his own music shop, and he used to fix my amp and
Oh, really?
where I bought my guitar strings from. Yeah, Darren Rice.
That's actually a really good album. I actually really like it.
Well, it was a big deal because like 92 and they'd signed to Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
That's a real big deal back then.
It's a big deal in Blackpool.
Fucking right, yeah.
The next one that came after them, there was a British band that did well. Actually, I put the album out here. It was Skin.
Yeah,
that's a good album.
That's amazing. That was one album that when I got that, I went through the old Kerrang magazines. I was like, I read that they were in Jagged Edge. Two of the guys were in Jagged Edge, and when I got this, I was like, this is the best album ever. I thought it was amazing. I saw Look But Don't Touch video. Tommy Vance used to have The Night Fly on VH1. My brother had just got Sky at home, and the VH1 was on, and The Night Fly used to be on Wednesday night or something. And I saw Look But Don't Touch video, and that weekend I went into town with my brother. I went looking for that album, and when I got it, I was like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. They were my favorite band when I was like 14, 15. Skin, that was it. So when I started going back over the old magazines and I saw Jagged Edge, I don't know if you guys know Jagged Edge.
Yeah,
I think I've got a Jagged Edge.
I've seen them.
You saw them, did you? Wow.
Yeah, they played Cumbria Rock in 1990. Have you heard of Sweet Addiction?
Yeah, I've got one of the singles here. One sec.
Dragster will have to help me out here in the comments. Who else played Cumbria Rock, Drag?
I've got that.
Caught on a line of love.
I can't remember them really, but I've got Jagged Edge stuff myself, actually.
Oh, Jagged Edge, I'm in trouble. Yay!
Yeah, I've got them.
I don't want to get up. Jagged Edge is over the back. But I have, I bought all the 12 inches, 7 inches, and everything.
I'll tell you what, if you like Jagged Edge, David, the singer sounds exactly like Rob Cavastani from Death Angel. So Death Angel have a side project called The Organisation, and it's more just rock. It's not thrash, it's just rock. And Rob Cavastani sounds exactly like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know they came out in the mid-90s. I remember seeing one of their videos.
Yeah.
But, I didn't pick that up. I'll check them out, definitely.
The vinyls got reissued on that Night of the Vinyl Dead. But you can get the CDs on eBay pretty easy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to look them up. Classic.
James.
Now, Cloudy had an album as well that he got in a bundle, and he said to see if you had this. Now, it's Pretty Boy Floyd, but it isn't. It isn't that Pretty Boy Floyd.
Oh, the other one. You know, I never bought them. They're Canadian Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you did say it was Canadian.
Yeah, it's just like a big lips or something on the front of the cover. I actually never bought it. I've heard of them, but I remember seeing it and I was like, that's not Pretty Boy Floyd, so I never bought it. So. But they were before the Pretty Boy Floyd that I love.
There we go.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, Bullets and Lipstick. Yeah. But no, I never bought it. I did buy a Pretty Boy Floyd leather jacket though, which I put on my page the other day.
Yeah, you did.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh my God, he wins.
Yeah, that's what did Ugly Kid Joe not name themselves the opposite of Pretty Boy Floyd. They want to be Ugly Kid Joe.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's why they were obviously sick of the whole glam thing. So they went, instead of Pretty Boy Floyd, we'll go Ugly Kid Joe.
I can remember, like, back in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, and it was heavy metal and all the genres. It was quite elitist, really, and it's quite nice to see that nowadays it isn't so much.
Yeah.
Because I can remember bands like the Electric Boys and Pretty Boy Floyd, they just even the names of the bands kind of instantly put all the people off if they weren't a glam metal fan. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some glam metal transcended. I was always what they called a mosher into me thrash metal, but I still enjoyed a little bit of Motley Crue, and you know, I had a few friends who played in bands. There was a band in Blackpool called Dirty Work and another band called Tongue in Cheek, and you know, we had sort of mutual respect and that, but it's nice nowadays to see that there isn't that same elitism. But Pretty Boy Floyd, the minute that album came out, and what's the album called? Electric Toys for Electric Boys.
Leather Boys with Electric Toys.
Yeah. I can just remember loads of sort of moshers and goths going, fucking hell, what's all that about? You know? But
I had that jacket. I actually bought that jacket when I was in the glam band doing the tribute stuff. I was like, I gotta find some cool clothes to wear on stage. So I went onto eBay, and this jacket was 150 euros, which I thought was a great price at the time, because it was like a normal leather jacket is even more expensive than that. So one with Pretty Boy Floyd on the back is even cooler.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and it's so cool. I post it on my page all the time, and people always comment. Someone actually offered me recently, I think he offered me $800. He was like, I want that Pretty Boy Floyd jacket. I'll give you $800.
Wow.
He looked like he was about 15. There's no way he was $800.
Do you ever go out for the night out with that jacket on, Dave, or not?
No, I would love to, but I wore it for a couple of gigs when I was in the band years ago. I wore it on the stage for like the first song, and then I was fucking sweating. And I was like, "Oh, jeez, don't have to go." But I would love to wear it out. The size on it's not that good. It's kind of small as well. But I actually contacted the woman who made the jacket. Then I contacted her on eBay and said, "Here's a picture of my band." And I sent her a picture of the band I was in. Can you make a jacket with us on it? And she said, "Yeah, well, for 200 euros, I'll make a leather jacket with a picture of the band." And she painted. It took her months, and she made this jacket with a picture of the band, and it's amazing. Well, it's fucking tiny. I remember going to post, I'm gonna wear this at the gig. I put it on. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna go to the gig with this thing on? But it's cool. I have it hanging inside in one of the rooms, but I can never wear it. It's too small.
It took her that long to do it. You put on a stone.
What?
I
said, can you send me the same size, the same jacket as Pretty Boy Floyd? And she said, "Oh, well, I buy the jackets in like charity shops or something." So she goes to charity shops, buys leather jackets, and paints the pictures on the back. So I was looking at the Pretty Boy Floyd. I can still wear that, but this fucking thing was way too small. So unless I join a band with a dwarf in it, I don't know. Actually, that reminds me. I was in a record shop. There's a metal shop in town. I was telling you about a Sound Cellar, and I was going through the records. I pulled out some albums, and one of them was Killer Dwarfs. So I hand him up the records, and he's looking in the back for all these albums. And in the meantime, a little dwarf comes into the shop with a mullet, and he comes in. He's standing behind me. So the guy's looking for about 10 minutes, and he sticks his head out and says, "No sign of Killer Dwarfs."
Oh, fucking hell.
And I just burst out laughing. He didn't know this little guy was standing beside me with a mullet.
Well, he wouldn't be able to see him because the counter would be there, wouldn't it? The counter's there. Brilliant.
No sign of Killer Dwarfs.
A mate of mine back in the day had a leather jacket, and he had the cover of Peace Cells painted on the back of it.
Oh,
and
nice.
He paid a few £100 for it, but it was fucking brilliant. It was absolutely. It was like Ed Repka had just painted his jacket. It was so good. Mm-hmm. So And and I think it got him laid on more than one occasion just for that jacket. It was that good. Honest to God.
I can only imagine what people would attract with my Pretty Boy Floyd jacket. Leather boys with electric boys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Has anybody got any questions for David or any of us in the chat there? Just thought we might get some questions fired out.
Hats off to our poorly pilot for sticking there and still throwing these comments out there in between vomiting on his laptop.
He's probably in his Y fronts and his vest now, sweat pissing out of him.
Covered in shit.
But while we're waiting,
wait, I tell you what, David, here's a question for you. Where do you think glam metal stops? Now, I have in my head sort of.
What year?
No. At what level? See, I don't consider like Dio or anything like that to be glam metal.
Yeah.
But I consider Twisted Sister and Wasp. But some other people might not. Where do you think it stops?
Well, I'd say, yeah. So you'd say Twisted Sister aren't glam metal. I'd be more.
No, I think they are.
Oh, I'd say they are. I'd say they are too. Anyone who had that image. A lot of those bands that were heavier bands, when you watch their videos on Headbangers Ball, they were going for, they were putting on their lipstick and they were putting their hair bigger and all just to go for that, you know.
What about a band like Skid Row?
Oh, they were definitely glam.
Yeah. I still think they are, yeah. I think it's about an attitude as much as the music.
Yeah, the second album, they definitely, maybe the first album they were, the second album they went for a heavier sound. And I think they were touring with Pantera or something like that when that came out.
Yeah, they were actually, yeah.
So they were trying to get away from it then. That's when a lot of, if you watch the videos on Headbangers Ball 91, 92, you can see all the bands, they've got no shirts on and flannel shirts tied around their waist and they're and dark videos. They were trying to get away from all that stuff. But most of the bands, kind of 89, 90, most of the bands were, didn't matter who they were trying for that sort of sound or that sort of look.
What about what about Queensryche?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I thought that Empire album went for the sound of it. I think it was I think the question that Mike's asking, for me, like a band like Queensryche are right on the line for me. You know. Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it?
But I would say they had quite a bit of a glammy image, but they weren't really glam metal.
Good question.
Go back to the last question because somebody asked about the band Heat.
I don't know that band.
What do you guys think about the band Heat? I think they're brilliant. They've got the.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know that band.
They've got the original singers back now, and the singer who took over, he's sick or something at the moment.
Yeah, he's got cancer, I think. Or leukemia.
Leukemia, I think. Yeah.
But their album that they released last year is brilliant.
Really good.
Yeah, I loved it.
I did one, Address the Nation, it was called. That was my favorite one. That's a good one as well. That sounded like an album that would have come out in like 1990 or something, 89, 90. That was the way they were able to capture the old sound on that. It was just full of big choruses and keyboards and really good.
Really.
Yeah. What about this question here? Do you consider Celtic Frost, Cold Lake as glam metal?
No.
I don't actually think it is a glam metal album. I think it's got that glam metal look, especially when you turn it around and Lado's got the fucking braces. It's just mind-blowingly bad.
Yeah, I think they had the look more than anything, because I remember I bought that album on vinyl years ago. I got it on eBay, and because I used to hear about this album, Celtic Frost is glam metal on this one, so I bought it. I listened to it, wasn't it? the fuck's this? This isn't glam metal. So I sold it. so no, it mustn't be glam metal. If I sold it, it mustn't be glam metal.
Musically, it's got to be too heavy to be glam, that. But I'm sure I read a story that he was going out with a bird who was right into a glam metal, and he was kind of influenced by her a bit of like a.
Well,
she was like
I heard a different story to that. The story I heard was that he was going out with a bird. He was right in with this bird at the time, and he couldn't be bothered even doing an album. So he said to the other guys, just get on with whatever you want. And they were just taking the piss and thought, you know what, let's just do this. And he ended up coming in at the last minute and went, what have you got? Right, okay, I'll sing along to that. And didn't really have much input at all. But that's a good episode on that podcast I was on about before, that Full in Bloom. They talk to the producer who produced Cold Lake, and he talks about his time. And even if you don't like that album, David, it's good just to hear somebody rip the fuck out of Tom G. Warrior for 14 minutes.
I remember seeing, didn't they do a video from that? Well, I don't know what the video was.
Yeah, Cherry Orchards.
Cherry, yeah. I bought a load of Headbangers Ball episodes years ago. I used to go through the internet trying to find people selling Headbangers Ball episodes. I built up like 150 of them on DVD. But that one used to be always on. And I remember thinking, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to buy it. And then when I bought it, I was like, the rest of the album's not like this.
So
I will. Maybe years ago. So if I listen to it again, maybe I'll give it another chance.
What album? Hang on, what we saying here? Many big bands tried going glam commercial during the 80s, at least one album. What bands nailed it and what bands failed miserably? Yeah, that's a good question, David. What glam metal albums? Because you can't like everything, can you? You can't possibly love everything. I know you've just said Cold Lake didn't really click with you, but apart from that, what albums would people be surprised in the glam metal sort of world to learn that you weren't really keen on it, just didn't click for you?
Well, I never liked Guns N' Roses, which is probably a surprise. Well, I didn't like them at all, no. And I don't know why. Although Appetite for Destruction, I do like some songs, and in bands I've played in over the years, I've had to learn the songs. But there was just one band I never liked, and I think it was them. I think it was them as people I didn't like. I don't know. Well, I just couldn't like them. I don't know. And when I used to read the magazines, and it was like Motley Crue, and there was always fights between Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, and because I like Motley Crue so much, Guns N' Roses was one of those bands I hated. I just hated them. And then, my sister loved them as well. Every time you walk by my sister's room, you'd hear a tape on you, like, oh, sweet child of mine. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, she's playing that shit again. And I think it just annoyed me.
I have to say, though, I think Appetite for Destruction's just one of the greatest debut albums ever, but it's the only good album they ever did for me, in my opinion.
That's a great one, yeah. Just the ones after that. Yeah. They became too cocky. Those videos they were doing, and it's fucking swimming with dolphins and all. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could craft one good album out of those two albums that came out on the same day.
Yeah.
And I did used to like the GNR Lies when that came out, especially that I'd never heard Mama King, I'd never heard the Aerosmith version and stuff like that. So, I was happy with that. But no, I mean,
the best part of the GNR Lies was the inner sleeve, I think.
Yeah, with a woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? I remember my brother's older than me and my sister's older than me, but she was young when she got it. My brother had it on vinyl and he loved it. And he was disgusted because my sister got the album on cassette then. And he knew she's going to start playing this thing to fucking death and it's going to ruin it for him. So she got the album on cassette. And he said to my mom, he went down to my mom and he was like, she's after getting that album. You shouldn't be listening to it. Full of curse words. And there's a naked woman on the inside. So my mom said, bring it down. So she got him to draw. He got a marker and colored in the boobs on the sleeve. and he went through the album, and he recorded over every time he said an F word. He put record on. He put like tissue in the top of the tape and recorded over every curse word on the whole tape. So you blank space every time you curse, which is probably every 10 seconds.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sure my sister wasn't impressed.
No, I can imagine.
Who else then, Dave, apart from Guns N' Roses, which is pretty surprised me, that, to be honest.
That's a surprising one. Well, that Nitro one that Scott showed, that was one I bought it and I just couldn't get into it. It was just it was just too over the top. It was ridiculous. The singing on it was too high pitched. The guitars were too fast. Awful.
It is. To be honest, it's a bit of a weird album. It's a bit of a weird one, that one.
It is. It's a strange one. I show another one I didn't like. When The Darkness came out, they were like, these guys are bringing glam metal back.
Oh, no.
They're fucking terrible.
I hate it. Yeah. I like, you know what? I like their Christmas song. But no, yeah, I'm not a big fan of The Darkness.
I don't think they were bringing. If they were bringing it back, they were bringing it back with like the Benny Hill sort of attitude. They weren't bringing it back properly, were they? You know, it was like even the videos almost like they were sort of being a parody of it, really.
Oh, they were absolutely terrible. I remember I worked in HMV. Their second album came out, and I worked in HMV at the time, and they did a signing session in the shop. And I remember taking all the posters down, and I was like, "Oh, I love you guys. Will you sign my poster?" Signed it straight onto eBay when I got home. I got my 200 quid.
Brilliant.
That's the only good thing The Darkness ever did. They got me 200 quid. They're the main ones that I don't like. What's this? Anyone like Crash Diet, Reckless Love?
Yes.
I like both of them. They're great bands.
Crash Diet are better than Reckless Love. Are very cheesy.
They're cheesy.
Yeah, they're really. I mean, they've got a couple of great songs, but most of their stuff is cheesy. Crash Diet are a bit more gritty.
Yeah. What was that album they did about 2010, 2009, 2010? Generation Wild. That was the Generation Wild.
Generation Wild, yeah.
That was a great album. Do you know, the time that came out, they were out around the same time. There was Steel Panther was out, and they were out. That was the time when I started my first band, when I joined the band. And it was a great time around Dublin at that time because there was a load of people into glam metal, and they got into them from these guys, from Crash Diet, and it was great. These guys used to come to our gigs because we were the only band around playing that sort of stuff. But
I think Crash Diet stand out a little bit because
they did like 4 different singers.
Yeah, I think they've had a different singer on every album.
I think so, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've had 4 or maybe 3.
The first one died, so we let them away with that one. But I don't know why the others changed.
Well, I think the boy from Reckless Love filled in on one of the albums. Yeah, he did one of the albums, and then
that's a good album. Mick Mars is on that one.
Yeah,
he's on a few songs in that one. Yeah,
what's that one called again? The Unattractive Revolution, I think it is.
Animal Attraction or something, is it?
That's the Reckless Love one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's it called? Attractive, yeah. That's something like that.
Revolution, I think it is,
Okay.
What would be the absolute best year for glam?
My favourite years are 90 to 92. I think the best stuff came out from them bands, which that's when they were, the labels weren't pushing them as much. 91, 92 because of the grunge stuff coming out, but I think the bands were putting their best stuff out during that time, like the Trickster album, Danger, Roxy Blue. They all came out around.
I've got to admit that it wasn't an era that I was. I'm only discovering that now, that grunge era glam metal albums, and there's some absolute beasts like that. I know it's not. Well, Spread Eagle, the first Spread Eagle album.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
1990, wasn't it?
Switchblade Serenade. What a song.
That was a
Yeah.
great album all the way through. Like.
Everything seems to be. It was so hard to find then when you were bogged down with, because they weren't getting the airtime anymore, were they? You've really got to be into it to know those albums. So I missed all them, you know. I sort of heard some of the bands, heard of them, sorry, but I didn't know them. But I mean, to answer that question, I would have probably said 89 was, like, for me, the time that I was taking in most of it. 88 and 89, but I do accept that there's better albums out there beyond them years, you know.
The thing that annoys me is, although these bands did go heavier, in the early 90s, but a lot of them went in this whole blues direction, which just pisses me off a little bit.
When that Choir Boys album came out, there seemed to be a load of bands that tried to sound like Choir Boys.
Yeah, I don't know why all these bands kind of morphed into like hard rock blues bands, but Cinderella's Heartbreak Station, that was a pile of shit. I think
that really went that way.
That was. I hate that album.
There's a few good songs on it. I think the first side is really good, but the second side is definitely not as good.
Yeah,
but loads of them went that.
Long Cold Winter's a good album, though. It's quite bluesy, but it's a great album, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's good.
But
that doesn't go like full tilt blues, that one.
Yeah, when you get to Heartbreak Station, that was like another level again, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I just switch off at that point.
Yeah,
it's funny though, because I love the early Whitesnake stuff, the 70s Whitesnake and early 80s Whitesnake more than any other era, and that's very bluesy.
Which you never listened to. I've got a few of the older ones, but I never listened to them. Kind of from Slide It In onwards, I'd listen to it, but some of the older ones, I never even played them.
Oh, fantastic!
I never even give them a play at all. I just presume they're going to be pretty dated or something. I don't know. That's a classic.
I mean, yes, they do have an old sound, but they're still worth. I mean, some absolute bangers. I'll be honest, I was all about Whitesnake 1987.
A great album.
But when I went back and discovered the early Whitesnake stuff, I thought, oh, that's where it's at for me. There's some absolutely killer stuff on them albums.
Stick them in. You have to. Just don't play them. Never even give them a spin.
I think most of the stuff that I would listen to is probably like 86, 87, 88, because once it got to 89, 90, I was well into the heavier stuff by then. You know, I was already on my sort of death metal journey. So I was gonna show that was a huge album for me and my mates. That was another huge album for me at the time.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
That's a great album.
Just absolutely loved it. But here's an album I'm going to show you.
Hey, Kiss themselves hate that one.
Do they really? This is an album that I have heard. I only found out about this band since making videos and being part of the VC, and it sort of just passed me by, and I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's a great album.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Their first three albums.
As much as I'm like a big sort of death metal head, I love a little bit of AOR. That was always a big album for me.
Yeah, amazing. He actually sounded a lot like Michael Bolton singing. Great
voice though. But this album, I was just like, I had it on in the car, and I don't think it left my CD player out in the car for about 2 months. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Have you heard James Christian's solo album?
Rude Awakening, is it?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think
that's an awesome album.
That was supposed to be a House of Lords album. And then he ended up, I don't know what happened with the label, but they said they put it out as a James Christian solo album. But that's a brilliant album. That's as good as the first 3 House of Lords albums were amazing, and then that was as good as any of them.
Yeah, it's brilliant that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute quality.
Well, that's a good chunk of time, boys.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Have we got any last questions before we wrap it up? Anyone in the comments?
Thanks to everybody.
Where are you?
I want to bed. Here, play Anthrax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks to Andy for sticking with us. The pilot's not let us down there.
Yeah, cheers. And cheers, Dave, for joining us.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, it's been a good
Nice
one,
Dave. Absolute pleasure,
cheers.
man. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you later, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.